Imagine for a moment if the whole world stopped. No cars, no cell phones, no voices, just a whisper, a silence so dense that it seems to have weight. And in that abyss of stillness, something is moving, something sacred. Padre Pio, marked with the wounds of Christ, he said that there are a day in a year in which the heaven opens, and that many it waste, without not even notice it. That day is the Good Friday. And according to he, there is 3 errors that can completely destroy the thanks that God pours out during those 3 sacred hours, of noon at 3 in the afternoon. Errors, so subtle mistakes that you might be making, even though you think you are praying right. Have you ever wondered why you don't feel anything profound during Holy Week? You're trying hard to live out your faith, but it seems like something's blocking you, like a spiritual fog is enveloping you. Pius did not speak in theories. He lived the pains of the Passion every week. I felt in his body the crown, the nails, the spear, and through that mystical experience, he revealed 3 truths that are not in catechisms nor in modern homilies. Inconvenient truths, truths that once heard you can't ignore. Today, you will discover that blocks the thank you of the Good Friday. They're not external things, like the sins of the world. They're everyday gestures, internal attitudes, noise, comfort, resentment, 3 closed doors to heaven, 3 traps of the soul. And also you will discover he path opposite, the one who opens the heart like a living wound before God, a path that crosses the silence, the fasting and the sorry, until we reach the mystery same as the cross. But before I continue, I need give you a warning. What you're about to hear isn't devotional or sentimental. It's spiritual and it's dangerous. Because once you know the true, you will have to decide, are you going to continue living Good Friday as a religious routine, or will you dare to live it as it is, lived Padre Pio, as if your soul depended on it? Noise isn't always heard. Sometimes the noise lives inside, thoughts that won't stop, worries that scream, in the mind, social networks that never turn off. We live in an age where silence is suspect, where being silent seems to be a sign of weakness, of inactivity, of disconnection. But for Padre Pio, silence was everything contrary. It was the condition necessary to listen to God. The world screams, God whispers. In Calvary, there were no speeches or applause, only blood, silence, and the gaze of a mother who understood what no one else could understand. That is the language of God, the language of the sacred void, where he himself chooses to speak. Padre Pio used to spend hours in total stillness, not because I didn't have that say, but because I knew that the soul only can receive when stopped talking. He said, in silence, the soul becomes an altar, and in the altar, God manifests himself. But how to achieve that in a world like the ours? How shut up outside, and also inside? The first enemy of the funny of the Good Friday is the noise. Not only the one coming from the street or the television, but the one who lives in the anxiety, in the impatience, in the lack of presence. And that is precisely why between 12 and 3 p.m., the same on which Christ hung of the wood, the tradition invites us to observe 3 hours of sacred silence, 3 hours that are not a symbolism. They are a divine appointment, a moment in the one that the darling whole observes who is willing to be with he, without distractions. Padre Pio once recounted that during those hours, he felt as if the time stopped. His breathing became slow. His body, it hurt more, but his soul opened like a temple that only God had. The key, he didn't need to see to know that Christ was there, over there. And what you do during those 3 hours? Do you reply to messages? You see, television. Are you having coffee with friends? It's not a sin, but it is a loss irreparable from a moment of divine intimacy. Imagine if God waits for you once a year to give you something that will change your soul, and you arrive late, or worse, you never arrive. That's the one effect from noise. It takes you away without you noticing. But there is hope, because if you're watching this video, it's because something inside you yearns that silence, that inner place where there is no more fear, nor doubts, nor pressure, only you, your wounds, and a God who also bled. Therefore, I propose something concrete. This Good Friday from 12 p.m. to 3 p.m., turn off everything, cell phone, music, television, and create a space where the soul can breathe. Light a candle, look at a cross, say nothing, do nothing, just be, because silence is not emptiness, it is presence, and in that presence happens the silentest miracle of all. God speaks. Most thinks that the fasting is a renunciation, a religious obligation, a sacrifice, meaningless. But Padre Pio, he saw things differently. For him, fasting was not about abstaining from food. It was about opening the door of the soul so that God could enter with all his force. In the days most sacred, Pius would eat nothing until the sun set, and when it finally broke, he fasting it toward with a simple piece of bread and a little water, nothing else. Many it considered extreme. But he replied, "How I can eat if my Lord is hanging from the log without even a drop of water to relieve your thirst." This was not an act of pain, it was an act of love. Fasting, he taught, is not a torture for the body, but a way to awaken the soul. When his stomach screams, the spirit listen. When his body empties, the sky is filled. Into Good Friday, thousands of believers, they attend processions, they listen homilies, they pray with fervor, but then they go on to eat as if out a holiday, roast meat, wine, desserts, and in that unconscious act, the soul closes. No, because food is a sin, but because it converts a holy day in a day common, and there is nothing common in a day in which God died. Pius explained that the body is like a temple, and the fasting is the purification of their altars. Without that cleaning, how will the divine be able to enter? The Church teaches fasting like an act mandatory in certain dates, but Pius invites us to go beyond the norm, to transform the fast in a meeting. When you fast for love, you are not losing food. You are gaining spiritual sensitivity. Has it never happened to you that when you have hunger, your senses are heightened? Or that when you feel the stomach empty, you begin to remember your wounds, your faults, your fears? That's no coincidence. It's the soul, free from distractions, speaking with clarity. Pius said that the fasting unites your pain to that of Christ, and in that ribbon invisible, it occurs the compassion. Compassion not only towards Jesus, but towards yourself, because you begin to understand your smallness and to desire the mercy. What if I told you that your hunger, can it be a prayer, that your emptiness, can it be a song, and that, by offering it, you are joining in the most sacred moment of the history. This Good Friday, don't eat like you always do. Do something different. Wake up, knowing that this day, even your body can become an altar. No need for extreme fasting. A simple meal is enough. Bread, water, and the awareness that you are not eating on a whim, but by faith. If you can, offer it for someone, for a sick person, for a lost soul, for your own conversion. Because the fasting doesn't change God, it changes you. It empties you of what is superfluous and fills you with what matters, and that is the true miracle. There is something more difficult than fasting, more demanding than keeping silent, deeper than any prayer. Forgive the one who betrayed you, to whom humiliated, whom killed your confidence, your dignity, or even someone who destroyed part of your life. Padre Pio said that the soul can pray, can fasting, you can cry. But if you do not forgive, God cannot enter, because the resentment is a door closed from within. Many they asked prayer. They came to him with physical pains, with hidden sins, with diseases. But before laying on hands, he would ask, "Do you have anything in your heart against anyone?" Once upon a time, a man he came to confess with There was compliment with everything, fasting, mass daily, alms. But I couldn't forgive the murderer of his brother, dead in a land dispute. For years, that hate it had consumed like an ember that seemed justified. Padre Pio looked with severity, but also with compassion. He said to her, "As long as you don't let go that resentment, everything the rest is stone empty. You are blocking the grace that you need so much." The man broke in crying, not because I didn't have reason in his pain, but because understood that he was chained to the past. And that chain did not imprison the other, it had him trapped. There is no sorry true without suffering, because forgiveness is not saying nothing happened. It is looking at the wound and decide not to convert it in arms. Forgiveness isn't forgetting, it's freeing, not the other. You, Christ in the cross, did not wait for him. They asked forgiveness. He did not demand human justice. From the height of his suffering said, "Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they do." That is not weakness, that is spiritual power. And Padre Pio did it understood. He was defamed, falsely accused, persecuted even by members of the church. And yet so, he never saved hate. He responded with prayer, with silence, with surrender. I knew that the soul that does not forgive is intoxicated, and that no one prayer can be heard if it comes from a closed heart. But how do you forgive? It unforgivable. Not with the emotion, not even with logic. It is forgiven in the cross. Forgiveness is not human. It is divine. And it can only be given if you join Christ in the moment when he forgave everyone, even you. So, this Good Friday, I invite you to do something sacred. Write a letter, one you won't send. Name the person who hurt you, what they did, what they took from you. Cry if you need to, tremble if you have to, and then decide to let go. Tell the paper, "Today, by the blood of Christ, I forgive you," and then burn it or tear it up in pieces. Do it like a sacramental act, no because it deserves it, but because your soul deserves it needs. Because if Christ, full of blood, abandoned, betrayed, could forgive, then you, wounded but redeemed, too can do it. Padre Pio said that the soul that forgives disarms the devil, because the hate is his terrain, and the sorry, your defeat. Not about reconciliation immediate, nor to justify it unjustifiable. It's about freeing you, so that the darling can enter. Remember, you can be silent, you can fasting, but if in your heart still there is chains, the soul cannot fly. Today, do what few dare to do, forgive, and you'll see how that same sky that opened for him crucified thief, also opens for you. Have you ever felt a fatigue inexplicably right at noon of the Good Friday, a peso in a body, sudden sadness, irritation for no reason? It's not a coincidence. It's not emotional. It's spiritual. Padre Pio stated that the Good Friday is a battlefield invisible. While the world commemorates the death of Christ, there is a war that continues, a war between light and darkness. And that war has a clear objective: to distract you, to distance you, to close your soul in the exact moment in which God is more willing to shed his mercy. From 12a to 15a, when Jesus hung of the wood, the sky and the hell they fought for every soul. And yet today, that battle is repeated, in your house, in your mind, in your heart. Padre Pio experienced inexplicable phenomena in those hours: demonic visions, noises in his cell, physical attacks, but also rose sense that emerged without cause, inner lights, revelations of the soul. It was the confrontation directly between evil and the real presence of Christ in his suffering. And although you don't see those phenomena, the effects you feel. You distract your attention with the cell phone just when you are going to pray. You feel deep sleep while you read the Passion. You get a call that interrupts your moment of reflection. Or simply, you are overcome by a feeling of emptiness or discomfort that you cannot explain. That is no coincidence. It's a spiritual siege, because the enemy knows that if you manage to unite yourself with Christ in those 3 hours, something in you change forever. So try to get distracted. Use anything: noise, haste, distractions, injuries, unhealed emotional issues. He doesn't need you to sin, he just needs you to be distracted. Pius said, "The devil does not fear your prayers if they come from a distracted mouth, but tremble when go a devoted soul, even if it is in silence." Good Friday is not a symbol, it's a living spiritual reality, and you are in half from combat. The news is that you are not alone. Every prayer, every act of fasting, every moment of forgiveness is a direct hit against the darkness. And while you struggle to stay in the presence, Christ fights with you. Will you dare to resist? This year, don't let them steal from you. Holy hour. Prepare your environment. Tell your family. Turn everything off. Claim that space as sacred territory, because although the world forgets it, you will know that while the Son of God agonizes for love, there is a battle that you are also called to deliver. And if you resist, you will see the light. You already know what blocks the grace. You know what? Battled spiritual ones are freed in silence. But now it's time to go beyond the theory. It's time to live. Padre Pio was not a preacher of words empty. He taught with his life, with his body wounded, with his soul open to mystery. And in the center of your spirituality, there was a deep practice. To live Good Friday as if it were latest. That's why today I invite you to prepare a sacred ritual, a physical and spiritual space for those 3 hours from 12 to 15h. Do not pass like a liturgical memory, but as a true meeting with the cross. Here have the 5 steps. Simple, powerful, sacred. 1. Absolute silence. Turn off your cell phone, turn off the television, close the door, and keep completely silent. Don't talk, don't sing, don't explain, just be. Let the world go on. You are no longer there. You are at the foot of the cross. 2. Reading of John 19. Take a Bible. Go to the Gospel of St. John, chapter 19. Read slowly, without hurry, without skipping details. Stop where the heart is racing. Cry if you need to cry. You are reading the moment when the Creator of the universe was pierced for love of you. Do it as one who witnesses a holy execution, without emotional distance. 3. Prayer of Divine Mercy. When the clock strikes 3 p.m., get on your knees and pray the chaplet of divine mercy, not as a routine, but as one who cries out from the depths of the soul for forgiveness, for salvation, for conversion. It is the time when the heart of Jesus was open, and in that heart there is you. 4. Ritual of the sorry. If not you did before, do it now. Write he whose name you need forgive, and what that person did to you. Don't mince words. Be honest. Then with reverence burn the leaf or tear it up in pieces while you pray. As you forgave me, I forgive. That is wound. Don't chain me anymore. Do it quietly. Do it with faith. 5. Conscious fasting. After the ritual, don't eat yet. Wait until the sun begins to set and break your fast with bread and water, nothing else. That your body know that this day is not like the others, and may your soul remember that each bite is a grace, not a habit. And this ritual does not require formal liturgy. It does not need a temple. It only needs you. Because when a soul decides to honor the wounds of Christ with body, silence and the sorry, the sky tilts, and God that it sees everything lets himself be touched. Let's go back to the beginning. Silent world. A man hanging between the sky and the land, a heart that beats for the last time so that the yours wake up. Padre Pio left us a silent, painful, profound legacy. Do not waste his suffering of Christ. Every year, millions commemorate Good Friday. But few it live, few it feel, few kneel not out of habit, but out of conversion. And now you know why. 3 things block the most abundant grace of the year: the noise that distracts, the comfort that lulls, the resentment that encloses, but also path, silence, fasting, forgiveness. Don't need to be perfect. You just need to be awake. Because the darling, he doesn't look for spotless souls. He looks for hearts open. Padre Pio was not a saint for having visions. He was a saint because even in his pain, chose to love, chose forgive. He chose suffer with meaning. And you, what do you choose this year? Are you going to allow another Good Friday passes as if it were just another holiday? Or are you going to do one of those 3 hours a living altar where Christ and you meet? You. But if you choose the path narrow, the one of the cross, the of inner silence, the of the sorry expensive, you will not be alone. Thousands of souls too will walk with you, and in it, invisible, a communion of saints, with Padre Pio among them, will accompany you. Do it for yourself, do it for your family, do it for Christ, and if this true touched your heart, if something inside you was ignited, then share this message with who else needs. Leave me your testimony in the comments. Subscribe so you don't miss out the next messages that the world has forgotten, but that your soul still remember. And now tell me, with honesty, are you really ready to meet yourself with the cross?